One of the display stands that I want to create was some kind of a simple hangar-like structure where a mecha could be maintained before going on mission, and with the pilot proudly showing his beast ready for action. So I tried the North Firehammer from JOYTOY because it is 118, it looks very well made, and it has a simple yet practical design. So if you're curious about my experience, follow me. The box is average in size, far from the other huge 118 mechas we have seen in the past, and it has this cool foldable cardbox cover to show the content under a transparent plastic surface. And as you can see, the first impression is quite scary, with all the pieces spread around in the clamshell. So let's see what is the situation inside, and as a first step we have to fight against the usual plastic clamshell that JOYTOY uses to package its content during shipping. Having accomplished my mission, I will say that I was sure to have purchased an action figure, not a model kit to assemble. Seriously, it looks like somebody has forgotten to glue the pieces together here. Well, let's patiently collect the pieces and hope that nothing will be missing. The big thing should be the body, which seems to be complete in all of its parts, including the sensor array on top. These other two should be the legs instead, but without the armor plates that are probably inside the pile of crap, I mean the other parts. These should be the parts of one of the arms. Let's see what else is inside, or even better, let's empty everything on the table, and this will be easier. Let's start assembling the arms together. This will be a cool experience, also for showing how the different parts are made, and also including the joints, of course. Let's try to have a positive attitude here. Once plugged into the arm socket, the hand does not appear to pop out again. It looks like the standard hand manipulator seen in other mechas, like the steel bonds and the iron breakers. We have the classic 3 fully articulated fingers plus the articulated thumb. Usually these kind of hands are a bit weak if the weapons are too heavy, but they should be fine for what our Firehammer is going to use, which essentially is this big pistol made of black plastic without any paint job whatsoever. Seriously, not even some metal highlights. The sculpt looks nice, even if it is a bit strange for the general sci-fi look of the mecha, but as it is quite a letdown, especially compared to the painting quality of the armor plates. But the cowboy pistol is not the only weapon the Firehammer can wield. There are a couple of these huge blades that can be configured in different ways. One way will be to assemble the two blades into one single blade that resembles me the Klingon bat'let. The other is to plug them into the side of the forearms where there are some peg holes. Sadly, it does not appear to have much tolerance. It is a bit of a struggle, and in these cases I've learned that it's better to take some time, heat the part with a hair dryer, and try again later. Once the assembly has been completed, we can start taking a look in detail to our Firehammer. And as you can see, the quality control is not one of the strengths of this model. Some parts are too tight, some others too loose, and some others not even glued. And this is especially annoying with the legs, since given their design, you cannot lift the mecha without losing its left leg. Fortunately, the other one seems to be okay, but we will have to take a look at it when grounded. The arms have a peculiar fully rotating elbow articulation that allows the arms to fully rotate along the vertical axis, showing some huge guns instead of the normal hand manipulators. At least, I think they are some guns. Let me know if you have different ideas in the comment section below. The entire arms assembly can fully rotate in some even absurd levels of freedoms, and they also stay attached, which is a big plus given the design of this mecha. It needs some time to get used to the possible poses that this mecha can assume, even if most of them are too unconventional for my old style thinking. I think that at least for now I will show it with the hand manipulators. It will be nice to show it flying and firing, but I will probably need to find a way to fix the legs first. The pilot instead is pretty much perfect. It has a great sculpt, a nice painting, and a held sculpt that looks to me some badass ace guy. I like the grey flight suit and the general painting with the many details on the arms and the body armor. The articulations are in line with the other similar pilot figures seen so far for 1/18 scale. Nothing fancy, but good enough for staying within the cockpit and wielding his weapons when staying outside. There is also a helmet that you can plug on the head for 50% more badassery. It will be a nice option in case I want to display my pilot outside of the mecha, performing some scouting before dropping into action. And for the Firehammer and other mechas of the North family, the cockpit is pretty much the body. You lift the front armor plate and you have access to the comfortable seat and a very simple command console that seems to me more appropriate for a bike, honestly. But this is a sci-fi mecha, so we can imagine some very sophisticated control mechanisms with advanced AI-assisted features. Now, positioning the pilot inside requires some effort, and the final pose looks a bit ridiculous to me. I will probably display him outside, or, as I was showing at the beginning of the video, in the process of getting out of the cockpit and showing some badassery to the people. Once you open the cockpit, you must struggle a bit finding the correct position for the legs and the arms to properly fit inside the seat, grab the command handles and staying in position correctly, or at least this is the general plan. In practice, it requires some more effort, but this is something I face every time that I try to fit a pilot inside a mecha. It must be because of this that I prefer to show them outside. Well, maybe there is some truth in this. Still, I don't think that the final result is worth the effort. Do you prefer to show the pilot seated inside instead? Overall, the mecha is nicely painted with this military grey weathered look that I love. The design is quite original. May not appeal everybody, but I like the idea to have some kind of a middle ground between an exosuit and a fully-fledged mecha. The pilot has rapidly become one of my favorites along the 1/18 figures, with both the helmeted and non-helmeted options being viable for me. The pilot also comes with a light machine gun and side pistol for more posing options. The combination of the two figures give plenty of options for all kinds of displays. I hope that my quality assurance issues were just a case of bad luck. I forgot to mention that the legs armor plates also tend to fall off every time I move the mech around, so in my case this makes playing with it quite frustrating. Until I finally decide to glue them in place, it will stay on its stand. First comparison I want to show is with the Cyclone convertible motorcycle in its droid mode. Let's add the Cadian Vox guy too, because it looks cool and allows us also to see the differences with 40k figures. The Cyclone droid is between the sides of the Firehammer and the pilot, and it fits quite well in the same display shelf. The Vox is also quite comparable, even if it is a bit shorter and bulkier than the other soldier figures made by JOYTOY, like our pilot. But what about the other mechas? Well, the Firehammer fits quite nicely with the steel bones, given the similar weathered paint job, even if the different mecha styles is quite striking. But those are 1/25 scale mechas. What about getting some 1/18 mechas into the field? And this is the time when you can appreciate the real difference between an oversized exosuit like the Firehammer and a real mecha like the Fear 5. In my opinion, they fit perfectly because of the paint job and also the more rounded mecha design. The pilots are also quite comparable. I like how JOYTOY soldiers and mechas figures fit quite well side to side in most cases, and this is one of those. I can imagine the Firehammer providing recon close support together with the Cyclone to infantry units. In the meanwhile, the Fear provides the heavy firepower, blasting away the hard targets. GG, well played. But getting to the conclusions, if you like the design and can stand the potential quality issues, this may appeal to you. It is bloody expensive too, and it makes a very difficult choice to recommend to you. Having said that, I wish you a nice rest of the day setting up your mecha hangars and liking the videos and of content creators like me.